Hello? Are we here? Are we doing it? Daz, hello. AC, hello. I've been here the whole time. Connor, hello. It's been... This is the short... Is this the shortest gap? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, this is the short leg. Josh, hello. Quacko, hello. Indeed. Right. Okay. Try and rattle through some more tickets today as we're now a full enterprise scale development team. Andre, hello. I did not know that, so I don't know what the changes to the YouTube UI are. OBS looks the same, if that helps. Let's move this over a bit. Let's move this over so much. Okay. Okay, right. I'm gonna press a button, check I'm reasonably centered. Okay, so today we need to make the barrels respect the walls, but I left the last room slightly grumpy. I couldn't get my template code working, and I'm going to give it one more go. Like, I'm going to time box it 10 minutes, one more go to get my template code working, because I did ask someone who knows the language much better than me what I was doing wrong, and I understand where I was going wrong now. I think I've got it stashed. I'm not going to rewrite it all if I don't. Emery, hello, 15-month member. Thank you very much. Matthias, hello. Right, okay, so the issue was my slight template madness with the auto bind. So this is all right. This is so basic. This is like this is nothing novel. This is how scoped lock works. So let me get a window up. Theorist, sub for 7 months. Thank you very much. Right. So if you've ever seen scoped lock, this allows you to take multiple locks by reference and auto lock them and then auto unlock them on the destructor, making sure there's no like deadlocks and issues like that. And I looked at the MSVC implementation and it basically does this. So I feel like this should be right. But the issue is I need to effectively unpack. I need to iterate over every element in the tuple, and I thought, oh, I know, that's what make index sequence is for. That I can fold over the comma operator. Blah 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 blah. This should work. This function never gets called, and I'm like, but I call make index sequence with size of the parameter pack. I kind of forgot that the template's arguments are deduced from the parameters. So this is auto, which doesn't rely on ix, so this effectively gets deduced to an empty set, which means this never expands. So I think what I'm missing is something like stood index sequence ix dot dot dot, and then this will cause this to be deduced, which means this will then get unpacked, it will get folded, get folded over, a bow will be put on it, it'll get sent out in the post the next day. Julian, hello. So this should just work. I don't think I've actually invoked it with multiple handlers yet, but multiple binds, but that's fine. Because I need to get rid of that bind to that. Don't like it at all. Nice. Okay, so this works. All right. So what we can now do is find where that miserable auto bind was that I didn't like. I think I just called it bind 2. So now is it this one? I think it's no, it's not this. No, that's the one I can't replace. It was this one. I should be able to do skybox cube and get rid of this. And if this doesn't work, I'm going to quit and go and do something else with my life. My Stream Deck Twitch integration is not working. I have no idea how many people are out there on Twitch. Okay, I think we're good. Skybox is skyboxing. Debug lines debug lining. SSAO is SSAOing. That's what I was missing from last time. Right, let's quickly. So I'm going to allow accept multiple objects in auto. Right. That's a little bit of template meta programming to get started. It's not too bad. It could be worse. Okay, so let's think about the next task. So make the barrels respectable. So I think if we kind of just quickly view our problem. I'm upset my button's not working. Lame. So at the moment, this barrel will be like gone through the wall, but I will not. So I need the barrel to presumably stop, like get stuck in these corners. I think it might make for an interesting mechanic. Anyway. Well, because we're done. These barrels are not. They're not rigid bodies. They're not simulated in a physics world. I'm just using the physics engine for collision detection, which I kind of have to manually invoke. So there is no concept of velocities or impulses or kind of rigid body mechanics. So yeah. But obviously it works for me because we've kind of hard coded it in, except for the place where it doesn't. Like I know there's a little gap here. I can be like, boop. Don't worry too much about that. Oh, and there, man, there's pillars, all sorts of sad. Okay, right. Anyway, I'm waffling. I think Lua level is quite complex now. I think the update function itself is doing quite a lot. So I'm kind of hesitant to keep munging more stuff into this quite gross function. However, so I might just split this out into smaller functions first, just to kind of make it a little bit easier to kind of understand. It could probably be a bunch of functions which, like, you know, update this, update this, update this, update this, and then the update function just kind of whatever this is. So what is it actually doing? So it sets up the script runner. It then executes the barrel visibility test. Well, it sets the barrel visibility. It then, to be honest, it could almost actually just be an extension of this. So somewhere in here, through this horrible, even I'll admit this is a little bit of an egregious use of ranges, but I was determined. through this, we get all the pairs of things that might collide, and then we check if they are colliding, and if they are, if they do intersect, we post on the message bus that they've intersected, in which case that comes back to it at a later date, and it can resolve it can like unwind its position. And then we update the player against the static geometry, and then we update the general game state, and then we then we update the scene, and then we draw the debug lines. Lee, thank you very much. So I wonder if it's worth just pulling these out just to start with, just so it's a little bit more compartmentalized. I might even treat myself to a private function, which I very rarely do, but I think there's a lot of state in here, and I'd just be hoofing all those up to an anonymous function. It doesn't really get me much, so I might treat myself on the very few private functions in the codebase. So we want what is all this? So this updates the Lua state. And then I think if we just call this something like handle barrel collisions, and then we can extend this as well to check with the geometry. I think we have access to all that here, because it's basically, I think basically what we're going to do is this. We have access to the static geometry, which has an intersects method. Yeah, I think we're just going to end up hamming this into here, but it's already going to get quite complex. So let's just let's start breaking this down, because it is a little bit grim. So I think we can do, and I'm not too fussed about a couple of extra function calls. God, I don't even know where to put them, because I suppose I have them here. I don't think I've written a private function yet. Anyway, update barrel visibility. I think these are all going to want to take a const script runner, right? Because I'll create this. Although this is actually light to create. This is actually a lightweight object to create, isn't it? It just, I don't think it does anything until you invoke it. It just stores a reference. Yeah. So in fact, we don't even need to pass that in. We can just create those whenever we want to. Right. Okay. So let's do that. So I guess it's a bit more philosophical, but my kind of aversion to private functions is one in like the philosophy of C++, or at least what am I trying to say? The constructs that we have so far is basically a separation of declaration and definition, right? So you get the ignoring templates. So you get a header file and a CP file, right? The header file is basically here's the things you can do, and C++ is here's how those, and the CP file is here's how those things are done. So if you ship code, right, all you really have to do is ship someone a compiled blob library, whatever, and a header file. So the header file is kind of your documentation. It's the API, right? It's what you can do. So in that sense, private functions is just a noise. It's like here's what you could have won. Here's all the things you're not allowed to call. You know, I kind of just want the questions that I can ask the black box that is this class, but also if you think, well, what's the alternative? The alternative is to write functions that are an anonymous namespace at the top of the CP file, which means one, abstraction-wise, you're not leaking those implementation details, but two, because they're not part of the class, you are encouraged to write more functional, like pure functional code, like it takes a bunch of inputs and produces an output. It can't mutate any state because it doesn't have access to the state. So I actually think it helps you decompose your problem better. That being said, like, I'm very hesitant to say thou shalt or thou shalt not do X, Y, Z. So there are some cases where if you do need to break down a large function to smaller ones and it does involve mutating a lot of state, then yeah, private functions is probably the right choice. But for me, it's not something I reach for first. I'd much rather keep the header file clean and write it more functional style in the CP file. Akimbo, thank you very much. I'm glad I'm having a positive impact. Anyway, but that's kind of my philosophy. You're obviously free to do whatever you want. I do like to keep them in order, but that does mean it won't be close to the other update function. But what you also that should be, doesn't technically need it, but I prefer doing it. Update barrel visibility. Okay, so let's just close some of these down, I think, because they're going to get in the way. Okay, so let's take... I'm going to do this step by step to try and avoid any regressions. So let's stick that in, there. And then actually might want to set a marker on this. I think this might be easier to move around. Right, the MA, and then I can do, yeah, okay, fine. Okay, so let's get rid of this. And then in here, we're just going to call update. I think it might be nice if we just end up with a bunch of like update functions, and then we can just selectively work on the individual ones. Let's just check that still works. Oh, excuse me. Why is my look like my Stream Deck is sad? I don't know how many people like that. I have thousands of people watching right now on Twitch, and I just have no way of knowing. Oh, I've overtaken it. I'm tempted to comment this up as I go along. So create update barrel visibility function. It's gonna be a lot of commits, but like, I don't know, hashes are cheap. Stream Deck, why are you not doing as I asked? Oh, there's an update for the Stream Deck, but that seems risky. Yeah, it's definitely. Have I? I don't really want to debug my setup live. That's not fun for anyone, but it's definitely a. Oh, don't know what it's going to do. I feel it's definitely lost the integration because it's not got access to the stream anywhere. How strange. I don't think I can kill the software either. Quit Stream Deck. That's risky. Let's give it a go. Oh. Oh, and we're back, and it worked. Yes, turn it off and on again. Not 1,000 people, I'm afraid, though. But the 19 people out there on Twitch, I do appreciate you choosing to spend your evening with me. Decade of interpreted languages, swapping from code terminal to compile back to code feels awful in NeoVim. So I use a tool called Tmux, which is terminal multiplexer. So it allows me to basically, like, I can just with a single keystroke create a new terminal. So you can see here I've got this new one here, and then I do, I don't know, free whatever source, and then I can like split that here if I need to do something else, and keep, and then I can like split it. split it here, and do all sorts of things, and then I can just close those down. So I just switch between, if you can see at the bottom, near Vim here, I suppose probably rename that first one, like build. So you can see here I've got two kind of windows, and they're just it's just a one small chord to move between them. And that's literally the reason I use Linux for that, because I've not found a equivalent on Windows. That, and obviously all the Linux command line tools I'm much more familiar with than PowerShell. Okay, so we've updated barrel visibility. Now I think we need to... It is what it is. So I think here, do I want to pull this out into its own function? It would, because it's kind of annoying to have that in a single function, but it's also very weird to have like update, random bit of code, update. I think I'm probably just gonna commit, right? Update Lua level. All right, and A, nice. Ooh, I need access to the player. Okay, first bit of abstraction changes. That's fun. Okay, all right, let's slap the player in there. Update everything. Well, I mean, is that not what update is by itself? That's I'm trying to move away from that. I don't... But I don't think it'd be too hard to update the intersections. The only issue I've got at the moment is I can't remember if the collision resolution is done in the C++ or if it just detects it, fires off a message, and then it resolves it in the Lua, because we should probably stick with that for the static geometry. So my testing is a little bit lackluster as well. Create update Lua level function. Okay, so now we've got this, which I think is basically, this is update autop update barrel collisions, which actually kind of, if this refactor works out right, which, you know, I'm forever hopeful, should give us a reasonably easy place to slot in the new code. Level. So let's do this. So 262. Everyone remember 262. I think. And stick that in there. Ooh, steady. What else do I need? A runner. That's fine, because they are cheap to create. But probably one of my favorite bits that we worked on, actually, the script runner. Nice little bit of template metaprogramming, or templatey code, I should say. Nice abstraction. Worked out pretty good. Harand with a different handle today. I'll try and survive an hour. You missed the template nonsense though. Update barrel collisions ? Question mark. Okay, let's. I'm going to do the thing I did last time where I'm going to intersect the barrels and expect it to crash and be very surprised when it loads another level. No, I'm not. 250 looks like a winner, doesn't it? Oh, it needs to eat auric positions. Interesting. Why does it? Let's just get rid of that for a second. I wonder if this, rather than having this random switch level state, I wonder if this should just be pulled out. Because this, what my level states, I've got complete lost. I'm completely lost playing, so this is fine. We can just, this will simplify this code actually. So let's do D257, and then we can stick that in there, and then we can do if, what was it? Level state. If level state equals game state running. I feel like I'm missing a curly brace somewhere. No? Maybe? Yes? That should be in the namespace, yeah. Okay. Const levels. Oh, it's level state. I've got so many states. Playing. Oh, that makes more sense. Okay. We can get rid of this now. Put that there. Late night, late evening UK bus. Be full of interesting characters. Okay, so this does this. So if I line this up, it does crash, but I was expecting it to crash. But is it crashed in the way I was expecting it to? See, it's loading the next level, which I think is balked. So I'm going to consider this a success, question mark, and fix that later. I don't... oh, fine. It's going to be like that. I think there's bang theme if someone wants to remember the command. Also, I could tell you, but that doesn't increase the chat engagement metrics, does it? It's not wrong. So what do we have? What did I just do? Update barrel collisions. Okay. Add update barrel. No, create. Not for create this time. Create barrel collisions function. Okay. I'm tempted. I don't know if I'm going to stick with MSVC for the next project. I might use Clang CL. I'm undecided. I should probably use both. Like, there's probably no reason to not use both. I'm trying to think if there's any major features I want that I know is not in either of them. I just, yeah. They've got most of the bits that I want to use. I guess if one of them had came out with reflection tomorrow, I'd be like, sold. Okay, so this is now update player collisions. I'm going to assume I'm going to need to pass in the player. Level. Okay. Let's go here, and then we're going to take all this gubbins and slap it in here. No red squigglies. So it must work. Oh yeah, it's already looking nicer. So MSVC has stood C++ latest, which means it will just let you use any of the latest features they've implemented. I think the highest official flag they have is 23, so I just put it on latest. I don't think any of the compilers have a 26 yet. They might have a 2C. Right, so can I still... Okay, so I can still, like, collide with the walls, which is good. Bang. I know it's a little bit janky, but that stream when we got collision resolution working for the player was quite something. That was a milestone. That feels like a game now. No, I don't do commission work. Nailed it. All right. So let's see. Create, update, player collisions function. I'm surprised no one saw this, but I've got a typo here in my commit message. Let's fix that. Keeps me happy. Okay, so that's done. Then so this is just... So this is just this is just update level state, right? If the level is complete, we post the message. If we've lost, then we restart, and then we post the restart message. So all this is doing is just in these two cases. So that can go out. Then I think this is then just update scene, and then this is all just update debug rendering. And I think we're done. 3 more functions. Let's go. Let's do it. Update level state. Can't be giving everyone that easy bingo space. Nearly forgot to save my file. I feel like we've not had a lot of good classic stream moments in a while. Update level state. This is a hard one to test because I can't actually none of the state transitions are working at the moment. I suppose I could do the collision and see if it considers it's complete and then loads the next level. Third times. Do I need another runner? One of those. One of those. Right. Yeah, it's Wednesday stream day. That's a bug. Did I call it? No, I didn't. That's why. No, I can't spell. I use effectively the Mechanical Turk of spell checkers, where I just ask where chat picks it out for me and I change it. That's my approach. I outsource it to the masses. Nice. So it did complete the level, so that's fine. Weird that it's crashing and writing the light data. There's definitely some inconsistency there, but we'll fix that later. So this was what did I call this? Create, update, level state function. Loads of commits today. Commit rich. Auto update scene. Do I need the player for this? Undecided. Also, not only can I not read spell, I also can't read type very well. So live stream coding was an interesting choice for me. To rely on my wit to get me by. Scene points to D27. So I need a runner. And then update. What do we call this one? Scene. Brave, foolish. It's impossible to tell the difference. Indistinguishable. All right. Okay. So this is definitely updating the scene. The lights are moving. We're moving. The world is moving. Everything is hunky dory. We've got the labels. We've got that going. Create, update, scene function. Now, okay, right. Then we just got the auto update debug lines, I guess. That's nice. Get rid of that, and then just do update. I've been meaning to do this for ages. So one of the things I want to do, because we're getting towards the end of this project now. Like, I don't think it's a million miles left. I want to be wrapped up, ideally by the end of the calendar year, but it'd be nice if close to like the 1 year point of this project, which is 10th of November, I think. Which means I'm already kind of like the next project is already occupying a little bit of my brain space. I do want to kind of allow myself the ability to do a little bit more off stream on the next project, but only stuff that is boring to watch. So sort of refactoring and commenting and tidying up and moving files around, and the stuff that I don't do on stream now because it's not that interesting, but it also means the project is worse because of it. So I'm going to allow myself to do a little bit more of that on the next one. But this one, still going to try and write every line of code live. What did I do? What did I just update? What was it? The debug lines. Okay. Okay, that is nice. Create, update, debug lines function. I'm wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm curious to know why. Ah, I see. I see what you mean. And a plain project file system janitor isn't particularly fun, I don't think. And I definitely don't want to do any fun or interesting or miserable debugging off stream, because that is the added stress of people watching me do it definitely really helps me get through those miserable bugs. Okay, so now I got this. Let's have a look at how we're going to do this. So let's go down to... I'm tempted, because this is not... I'm tempted to have a slight hit on performance and just do 2 iterations. Like, I'm wondering if we can just basically take this. Right, and do... what am I iterating through? How am I iterating through all these? Okay, how's this? So where I get me comms. The combinations come from transforming the... Oh, that just works out pairs, doesn't it? And then I go through the entities. So I just want to go through the entities, right? And... this is it. Aren't entities separate to static entities? Yes. So... I think I want to go through something like this. Third... I basically want this. I'm not convinced this is optimal, but I am hopefully convinced it's at least easy to understand. Because obviously we could do like some sort of hierarchical culling or something like that, but for like the 3 barrels we're going to have, I don't think it's that much of a... I don't think it's a deal breaker. So this is... So for every object that doesn't have a static collider, then for every object that does have a static collider, this can be const auto transform shape equals entity dot how do we get the... I build the transform shape here, but I didn't think I had to do that for this. Can't remember how entity works. It's got the bounding box, which I think is the equivalent of the collision shape. I think we can just do bounding box. That's a bug whenever I change to have a more complex shape, but I think those are the same. Then I can do intersects transform shape, and then intersects transform shape. But what I want to do actually is if collision logger No, log. Debug. Intersection. Right, let's just see if we can detect this first, which means I now need to go change my makefile, because obviously my makefile has the hard-coded position on the screen where I want my window to be, obviously. Actually, that's 2400. It's because the mouse is locked to the window, so I can't actually click and drag the window, but I need the window to be in the same place every time for streaming. So, okay, this is looking positive. Right, let's see if we... I'm really hoping this just... Yeah. Interesting it's not... Is that... Oh, it is continuously doing it. It's just... So, what does that mean? Like, how do we resolve this? Do I just... Because I don't have a shunt method on the barrel. How do we post the entity intersect, which I think we can listen to as well. Who listens to this? We could time the startup, yeah. I do want, one of the goals I want for the next project is much better metrics on what we're doing, like from the start. So create a bunch of like timing functions and stuff, and kind of have those available so we have a slightly better idea of what's going on. I think maybe even doing like, is it OpenGL? Is it query performance or something? You can ask OpenGL like how long it took to run like a stage. I think being able to kind of get those, having like wanting that functionality early on should mean it's easier to architect in. Like if I was doing it now, I'd be hammering it in and it'd be a bit of a mess. Whereas at least I have the opportunity to make it less of a mess from the start. If I go in with that idea, I'm not saying it won't be a mess. Where does it handle? Entity intersect. So who listens to that? It is Lua level. Why can I not find that? Anyway, okay. So what this does is this gets the index of the two entities and just calls in handle entity intersect with those. Oh, grim, because the Lua script has no concept of the static geometry, and I don't think I want it to. I wonder if this is just something we do natively. This is going to be one of those, let's just see if this works, and then immediately forget about it and be like, aha, how does that work? That's not what I want to do at all. All right. So I think I just need to move the entity position. I don't think I even need this. I think it's we'll see. I might end up getting it stuck in a corner. We'll see. But if it collides, then const auto. Hang on a minute. I regret deleting all that code. Here we go. Const auto shunt distance equals basically this. Shunt amount. Oh, well, call it shunt. That. Okay, and then do grim. Entity. It's set position. Do I have a translate? Translate. Oh. Ooh. Ooh, nice. And probably break there, right? Like, actually no, because if it moves it into another box. Let's just see what happens. This could be easy. Ooh, bish bash bosh done in under an hour, and fix my miserable templates. Oh, not. It definitely. I feel like it's hesitant. It's definitely hesitant. I tell you what I think the issue is. I think it's this half amount. I think we needed that for the player to stop them, like, ping-ponging in. But for this, like, I just want it just to snap back to exactly where it should be. I wonder if, as well, it should... Maybe it should signal to the Lua to stop trying to update the position. I don't know. This is why I regret not fully leaning into jolts. And again, next project, more jolts, because this is doing all this manually is a massive pain. It definitely stops for a second, right? I'm absolutely guessing now. So all the level logic is currently driven by Lua. So the barrel, so where the barrels are placed, handling the collision between them, the wind conditions, the lose conditions, the state, that's all done by Lua. Why is it? Is the delta more... Something strange here, and I don't think just arbitrarily increasing this number is what I want. Where do I draw the debug information? What am I drawing? It is the bounding box, so that is definitely what I'm colliding with, because that's what I'm drawing, so that's fine. Yeah. Oh, hang on. I do reset. Oh, hang on. Am I being stupid? Have I already solved this here? I am being stupid because I do keep the original positions, and then so I do handle the collision resolution in C++ for the barrel on barrel action, because I just tell it that it's happened, but then down here I revert the positions. Yes. So what I need is access to the index, which is solved super simply with so let's do nope. That's not what I want. Where's my pipe character gone? Oh, there it is. Stupid American keyboard. std views enumerate, and then we can do, this now has to be const because C++ is strange, although the object itself is not const. Index entity, and then I should be able to do this. I'll probably move that window back now. I don't need the debugging. Oh, so nice. Right, but the question is, can I push it through the pillar like I can push myself through the pillar? I've lost it already. Right, so this, yeah, it's a bit of a run up. Oh, the barrel is much better at the. I wonder if it's because it's my curvy shape. Because I'm in it. It's around that corner though, so. Oh, that was easy. Oh, boom, done it. Does it collide with the other? It will collide with the other barrel, but only for the sense of, because that barrel is not marked as a static geometry, which is the blue lines. Then it will allow you to clip in slightly, but that's fine because you need to just line those up and then it'll crash. So let's just discard that. Make barrels respect the walls. That was way less painful than I thought it was going to be. That's done what to do for now. So actually, I'm kind of, with an hour left, I'm kind of tempted just to have a quick look at Bloom, only because my blur function is a little bit shite, and you need kind of a half decent blur to do it. But I was looking through Iris, the engine I wrote before this, and I have a better, I think a slightly better blur GLSL file. So I might just transcribe that over and see what it looks like, because this, it's got a lot of artifacts on it. If I get close to something with the lines, you can see like the sort of repeating artifacts, almost like ghosting. It's not a particularly good blur, but I think I may have a better blur, like in my back pocket. After watching all 80 streams, you think you would have gained more C++ through osmosis? I mean, maybe I'm just not explaining things well. You should definitely ask questions and get me to clarify stuff. Because sometimes I'm just like, right, done. And then I can understand if you went in my head at that point. It might seem a little bit strange. Okay. So this is how one has blurred before. I think this is basically a Gaussian distribution, and then I blend it 5 ways along one axis and 5 ways along another, which kind of spreads it out evenly, and then you end up with a sort of Gaussian distribution of blurs. So I'm going to try just transcribing this and seeing, because I kind of have something similar here, but it's a little bit naff. So I just want to check as well. Git add assets. Blur.frag. So the problem I have, and again, lesson learnt, and something I want to fix next time, is the whole assets directory has a git ignore in it, because I don't want to commit the models and the stuff that I've paid for, because I'm pretty sure that's in violation of the terms and conditions that I would have agreed to when I purchased it. However, there's a lot of stuff in there that I wrote, like shaders, which gets ignored. So I want a better asset structure next time. So I can be like, all the shaders definitely get tracked, but the assets like don't, and then they can kind of get packed in a release build. How do I handle shaders in OpenGL? I just write them, like nothing fancier than this. And then there's a shader abstraction which lets you load in the source and the type, and then does things with it. And then there's a poorly named material class which then takes two shaders. So this is all going in the next one. I'm gonna rewrite most of that, I think. Okay, I'm just gonna pretty much just start again, I think. So const. I really cannot be bothered to rewrite these constants. So let's just. That looks good to me. Equals 1, I is less than 5 plus I. So let's do vec for color equals texture text naught text chord times weight naught. So we'll get that one. Well, I do think the end goal may be an engine, but built through, like, forged in the crucible of actually kind of a game dev, rather than me just thinking, I'm going to make a game engine. What do I need from it? I'd rather write code and kind of battle test it as we go along, and then selectively rewrite parts that I know are shite. So yeah, I don't... We might. If you're still watching in like 2 or 3 years' time, like season 4 of this might be just putting it all together into an engine. Yeah, I've never really looked at compute shaders, and I'm not saying it's not right, because I know you can do SSAO and stuff like that in compute shaders. It's just not an optimization that I feel like I need at the moment. Yeah, but again, I'm a one-man band, just trying to make progress, so I have to kind of pick and choose my battles, and so this needs to be injected in, but we need to do that. I have a ticket to inject these in. So blur from basically both sides. Hang on, I'm going up the height, aren't I? So that needs to be 1080p, doesn't it? Sorry, that needs to be 1080. So I've done FXAA in a shader before, and it was fine. So, but yes, again, like I'm not saying anyway there's not better ways of doing anything I'm doing. There's kind of a limit to what I can do. Okay. Anyone spotted the bug? Anyone spotted the bug I've written? Anyone spotted it? I mean, there might be more than one, but there's a very, very obvious one. Other than this, I mean, that's not what I was talking about. Am I planning a performance comparison between my game and a replica in Unity or UE? No, because that would probably be making the game twice, and I think once is enough. No, I don't think it's loop 1 short, because I need to take the 0th one here to be the center of the kernel. I'm just overwriting each time rather than accumulating it. Yeah, someone saw it. Let's try that. Let's just see what happens. Because I've got code, I have code where this works. As in, this is from a shader that I know works from a bloom filter that I've written before. And it looked okay. No, you got there. I think I believe you found it. Because obviously you can do like occlusion testing in a compute shader before you do the render, and then you obviously can do like light binning and stuff like that for 4+. I will not be doing any of that, at least not in the next game. Is the next evolution of kind of game dev, I think, in just like the history of it. So probably a deferred renderer, probably with what are they called, light objects, light maps, light occluders. You know, where you render a sphere and then which is the facsimile for the light attenuation, and then you only apply the lighting calculation in that. Light objects. The biggest internal battle I have at the moment is whether I want to use blindness shaders and give up render doc. I think the answer is yes. Oh, that is bright. I think that's a better blur. Why is it so... You're right. Why is it so... Is it because do I need to average them out at the end? Strange. I've used this before, but I wonder if I just used it for a bloom where it didn't matter. The fix was render out later in the renderer. So after all the what was it? Why did we have to do it after the SSAO pass had been applied, but before the post-processing effects? Render it there and then fudge the maths a bit so that it worked, basically. Divide them by the sum of all the coefficients in the kernel. So is that this? No, I mean this. So what do those add to? Can I do that? Is that a thing in GLSL? Will that figure it out, or do I need to? I probably just need to do. Hang on, no. I don't want that at all. What I want is color.rgb equals vec3. That. Swizzle that. You were close. 0.5-ish, pretty close. This is going away in the next one as well. I'm fed up doing this. I thought it was a good idea, and to be fair, I think a good run of streams doing the TLV and well worth doing, and would still be useful in the next game. But better abstraction, so I can not have to do this. I've kind of backed myself into a corner with this. Oh, do I need to times it by 2 because I'm doing it twice? We've got lots of different opinions here. Oh, actually, that's going to make it brighter. If I divide by a smaller number smaller than 1, that's going to make it brighter, right? So I want that, don't I? The number of samples. That's how maths works, isn't it? even if we just fudge it a bit. I just think maybe potentially doing a super quick bloom might be fun. Why did this work when I did it before? What did I... Oh my... Deal's getting worse all the time. So the other... We've got 2.4. Okay, if this... This was like a bonus, so if this is not resonating with me, we'll just move on to fixing some other stuff. But like, I definitely this is my blur function that I've used before, right? I don't think there's anything different. I just accumulate the colors, then return it. I guess like, where do I call that from? Because this is just a fragment, not a fragment shader, like a fragment of a GLSL thing. Oh, okay, there you go. It's a little bit bright, but is it even blurry? I feel like it's not that blurry. Like, it's a little bit blurry. It's like a very subtle amount of blurry. Boomkin, glad you're here. Yeah, I've kind of fallen out of the shorts game, but I'm here to chat shit live. Yeah, why? Don't know. Maybe this is a fool's errand. Maybe I need to take the time to write a proper blur. I've got a blur shader as a post-processing screen effect, and it's not very good. And I thought I'd try and write another one quick, or at least use an existing one that I've written before. But it's just it's somehow worse. Oh, sorry. The fact that it loses the colors, that is also a grayscale shader that happens afterwards. So if I go to Lua level, H, where did it? I can't remember. It is set. Is it set? Here you go. So when the game goes to paused, it sets the grayscale and the blur post-processing effects. Why not get all the neighbor pixel values, average them, add half the diff between them and the current? Is that like a box blur? Just want a simple blur. So what's this? I found a blog post. What's this? That looks blurry, right? If that's what they had before. Thanks. Okay, so we think we don't need this. Apologies, we're gonna have to run this hot mess again. Oh, next project though. Oh, oh, oh. I think it'd be nice if just like the target barrel had just like a little bit of bloom to it. Otherwise, we'll cut our losses because I need to go and edit some of the shader code anyway. Because we need to start gearing ourselves up for setting full screen. Because that's the next thing to do, and then we need to be able to support different game resolutions as well. No, so originally it used to pull from a folder. Then I was like, oh well, we're going to need to pack them all up eventually anyway. So I'll just write a packer, and then we'll just write. It can't be that slow. We'll just run it each time. And it turns out it was really slow. And then I made the fatal error of kind of committing too much of that too early on, and it's kind of a bit of a pain to go backwards. So I'm just kind of stuck with it for now, and it's just being quite close to the end of the project. I just don't think it's worth re-architecting. That new shit. That's worse than before. Okay, I'm going to sack this off because I unless there's something obvious we're missing there. Yeah, because I'm offsetting those. No, it's fine. Okay. And this, we just need to make this bigger. Yeah, maybe it's just... I'm just going to revert this. Go back to what we had before. I don't know if it's worth trying to do a bloom filter with the bad blur, knowing that we could fix it in the future if we need to, but also maybe making the bloom not that good, or if we just sack it off and go on to the next thing. Yeah, text 0 be the frame buffer. Again, terrible naming. Want to change all that in the future. So let's go back. Probably I've been very inconsistent with it, but I mean this will, because you're calling it as a float here, the GLSL compiler should figure it out. Might be all right. How easy is that going to do? So Well, let's just see how easy it is to at least do the light high pass first, because we'll see if we can render that out. Where's render doc? I think, yeah, I'm just gonna play around with this for the rest of the stream, and if we're not even close to the end, then we'll sack it off and we'll just go and do the other mechanical bits that we need to do. So let's just check I can still run this through render doc. I do think not having some sort of graphical debugger is going to be a massive pain. Oh, what? Oh, hang on. I need to actually build it without the text rendering. So basically, my plan is such that it is simple frame. So at the moment we have the various. This is the fragment shader that gets run for all the meshes basically. So we output the frag color, the norm color, and the position color. I would probably add another frame buffer output, which has like if the brightness is above a certain threshold, render out the frag color. I think that might be the best way, and then I'll just have a frame buffer with the highlight pass in. I could blur that, and then I could blend it over the top, I guess. I think it blends it. Right, so let's grab a frame and have a little look at what we got. So color pass, we are outputting, yeah, the albedo. Well, actually, it's lit as well. So the colored light pass, the screen space normals, the screen space positions, and we've got the depth buffer as well. So I think if we add another one here, and we'll just make the barrel super bright. Obviously, it'll get clamped down with the HDR pass. Let's do like bloom color, and then bloom color equals, I guess I want like how do I do the magnitude? No, how do I do the, my brain's gone totally blank. What's the GLSL function for finding the magnitude of a vector? My brain has gone totally dead. Length. Yeah, length of, if the length of the frag color is above, I don't know, 2, 1, what's a good threshold? Because you'd expect them to be normalized to 1 anyway. Else vec for 0.0f. Get those. And then if I go to the renderer, when we set these up now, we need to have but we are got floating point buffers, right? So, but it's the magnitude, right? It's just if the length, if the overall brightness of that point in a floating point number is greater than 2, then because we can then the whole point is then we can make the lights arbitrarily bright. and they were clamped in HDR paths. But at this point, we should still have access to that information. I think that's right. So let's make these bigger, right? So those should now. I don't think no, because we're writing to a floating point buffer, it doesn't get clamped. I'm pretty sure. So if we look here, I don't know if you can see here, it says R16, G16, B16 float. So these colors can be more than, they can be up to whatever half float is in value. That's basically how you do HDR, right? You give it enough memory in the frame buffer to represent colors way above the sort of 0 to 255 range you would get in LDR, and then you do some mathematical curve tone mapping in HDR to pick and choose which parts of the sort of highlights and lowlights and contrasts that you want, and other graphics words. So we will bind that. I think the whole thing just gets bound and drawn. So what I think we then need to do is do assets level Apple. So somewhere in here, excuse the terrible LSP-ness in here. I know it's a bit grim. See here, we set the tint level. So if we set the tint level to something like 5, this will blow out that color. Okay, and then hopefully it should look roughly the same when we render it, but it should appear in that pass. So I just use my first tone mapping function, which is the Reinhard function. I think I mentioned this before. It's a bit of a name drop, but Reinhard was one of my lecturers at university, so I have a certain sort of affinity for that one, even if it's not maybe the artistically sort of prettiest. It sure is easy to implement, and Reinhard's a nice guy. Reinhard. I think that's right. Okay, so let's launch this again via the dock. Oh, it's interesting. It's really blown out the color around the middle now. That's interesting. I wasn't expecting that, but it's not the end of the world. So let's take capture. Oof. Oh, that's grim. Okay, this might not be great. But if we look here, oh, I was expecting this value to be a bit bigger. Well, actually, let's just see what the outputs are on the. Oh no, wait a minute, because that's the tone mapping stage. That's why. Here it's fine, and yeah, we can see here it's got a massive value. I wonder why it brings that. Why does it bring the label back? How weird. Color pass. All right. So here we go. Big value outputs. Oh, it's not. Hey. I was expecting certainly one more. Where it binds the. Oh, I bet it's in the where we downsample. I've got a hard-coded 3 somewhere, haven't I? There we go. There it is. Rather than fixing it to make it generic, I will just up it to that. I was also not convinced I rebuilt the game anyway after packing the resources for RenderDoc, so that was going to be, maybe we just preemptively fix that. Harand, hello. I've decided to see if I can bloom in 40 minutes. I'm not hopeful. or I'll just quit the game and not take a capture. Okay, so car pass, get out here. Interesting. So not a lot of not a lot in the old high pass there, unless I've got a weird range. No. I'm pretty sure. What am I looking at? So I've got the position. It's definitely got a pretty high. Do I need like the length is always absolute though. It's definitely higher. I would say the length is higher than 2. Why is that? I'm a little concerned that these are negative as well. Like, why is... What's going on there? Thoughts, feelings? Why am I not blooming? Well, I thought I'd try and bloom in the sort of. I got physics working with the barrel physics working with the world quite quickly, so I thought rather than starting something massively new, I'd start something massively new and just see if we could do it. Yeah, it's had this issue for a while. I don't think this is related. It doesn't like the usage hint I picked in something. I don't think it's the main issue. Yeah, I think it's. Yeah, it doesn't like the usage hint. I don't think that's an issue because we've had that for a while. Why is that? Yeah, exactly. So this should be. This is pretty big, right? So I don't understand why at this point it's not writing it out. Because it's not like it's. Oh, interesting. Sure, worth punt. Right. Oh, interesting. Maybe. Lots of things to try. It could be that we're reading from an output variable. I also don't like the way that grayscales now, but well, you would hope so. Okay. It's certainly not. Certainly not. Oh, weird. Why is it? Why is it rendering the lines to it? Have I got... Yeah, but why is it rendering it out to the bloom, to the high pass filter? Okay, maybe. Let's do color times albedo dot. Let's just do it directly. Just double check all this before we go through it. So we go through the entities, we bind the material, we render them all out, and then we do the debug line rendering. Still to the same material, but that's fine because we want the depth buffer. Then we kind of get on with our day. I think it's, you can see with barrel curves there, so it's definitely like, it's obviously, well, I mean, obviously it's got access to the depth buffer. How very strange. Autobind is the little RAI primitive that allows me to call, it's a little bit templatey, but it allows me to call bind on the constructor and unbind on the destructor. So it's just it's so I can, within the scope, make sure things get bound and unbound. Doesn't matter, as long as they expose a bind and unbind method, it kind of just works. Oh, it's not macro. No, no macros. No macros. I'm very anti-macro. Did I not even look at it when I bloody captured it? What? Or am I just zoomed in? Oh yeah. Yeah, I feel like the debug lines probably don't. I wonder why that is. I suspect the debug line. Oh, does the hang on, I might be able to fix that just whilst we're here. Line frag. Yeah, I think it just writes to every single outputs texture. Whereas if I just bind that, that should fix it. Well, we can at least fix that bug. Yeah, it's not macro. Macros are the preprocessor kind of way of doing generics and other kind of code genny stuff. The C++ standard has slowly been introducing more things to make like specific use cases of macros redundant. I think we're pretty much through most of them now. Arguably, you could include hash include with that if you switch to modules, but yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry, preprocessor more generically, it's starting to phase out. Most uses of macros you can replace with templates. I don't really know. Like, I'm not super. I mean, it's a terrible thing to say, but I'm not super motivated to try and get this working because it was a nice to have anyway, and I really want to crack on with some of the other bits. So I might just play around a little bit more. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and probably a problem for the next project anyway. Well, at least I got rid of the lines. I don't really know what's the last sort of holdout for macros, because you don't need line and function anymore because you've got std source location. You don't need logging because you've got templates and std format and stuff like that. I guess the one place the only macro I use is the X macro here. So I only have to define these once, and then I can basically auto-generate all these as inline because I have to resolve, because I choose to resolve my own OpenGL functions, and then in window OpenGL, where is it? I can then resolve them with the wiggle function automatically. It just keeps them in sync. It's the only way. I cannot think of a modern C++ way of being able to effectively define a bunch of function signatures with names, declare them as inline, and then iterate over them to be able to assign to them. I don't know. I wouldn't say the errors that templates produce are pretty grim, but I don't think they are. I think they're type safe, right? Macros are just text replacement. It's just preprocessor. So it's just like generating tokens for the next stage. Whereas templates at least give you type safety, and then you can apply. You can further constrain that with concepts, etc. Yeah, but the thing is that you know what? I wonder if you can do this with reflection. I wonder if I can reflect out into the global namespace new function signatures. Yeah, the other thing is you use code gen, right? But I do wonder if I might be able to fix this with reflection. Anyway, I don't really know why this is going. Harand, any thoughts? Is there anything obviously wrong with my shader? Simple frag. Like that's the correct runes, right? Set. Oh, hang on. I guess this is the last one we haven't tried. They are approved for C++26. They made it in all 6 or 7 papers that were proposed for reflection made it into C++26. So it's coming. It's inevitable. Reflection is inevitable. Yeah, good point. Let me just try this one first, and then we'll try the other one. I picked that up from my first job. Someone I worked with used to call like random bits of syntax runes. So I kind of picked up from there. The C++ reflection syntax is wild. It's such token soup. It's so funny. I really enjoy it. You end up with lots of things that look like ASCII smiley faces, which is quite nice, especially when you use like the splice operator, which is fun to say as well. When you say the ping pong crap, which one? It's not the random like blur 5 times, then blur again 5 times. We tried that earlier, and that was a disaster. It's new in 2026. I don't know, I'll get up an example in a minute. Give Harand a small seizure. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so that's... I don't know, like that. I have some... I wrote some code on this. I started having to play around with reflection. I had to build a random fork of Clang to get it to work. That's a good example of it. So, can't remember. It's been so long since I've looked at any of this. I think it's in the web stuff. Yeah, so it gives you basically, so you get templated for loop now, which is new in 26, and then and then you get access to the std meta thing, so you can get and then this is the reflection operator. So this returns the new double carry returns you a std meta info opaque object to the meta information of the type that you were reflecting. So I can basically just kind of goes through any aliases that you've got, but you can basically get the members of, you can get the special members of, you can check if it's like default constructible, you can get what the display string of, type of, blah, 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 blah. And then you end up doing stuff, and then this is the splice operator. So the splice operator takes a meta info and injects it back into the type system. So if I want to self dot arbitrary reflected member, then I splice it back in. Yeah, I think it's nice. Like, you get nice little, you get like this little cute chap here. It's wild. Like, I think it is incredibly complex, but it's good fun. You can do some really natty things with it. So I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent now, so apologies anyone who wanted me to struggle through OpenGL, but I wrote a little... So if you're familiar with C# and ASP.NET, or the MVC pattern, I basically managed to implement that in C++. So you get custom annotations now as well. So I can basically say get request simple, and then and then the thing is it can reflect out the name of this function and the name of this class. So if you curl, when you start this web server, if you curl /greeting/simple with a get request, it will figure it out and then call this function. Similarly, if I got a post example somewhere, so if I did post product/add, it would figure it out as this function and then call it. And then the nice thing is you can just define arbitrary structs, and then it will automatically serialize those to JSON back and forth using reflection. It will reflect out all the members of this class and turn it into JSON and back and forth. So I literally just have to say I accept this struct and I return this struct, and all the serialization all gets reflected out for you in the back end. It's all compile time. Everything is compile time. I mean, obviously it's a runtime request to accept the web server, but you've kind of laid out all the structure and everything. Like it has all this has to be known at compile time for it to work. Obviously, you can still do some runtime like execution, but it will basically template out a lot of it. yeah, there's a and then I just, as a gratuitous kind of extension, I wrote a little what do they call it? ORM over SQLite. So you can just give it a struct with like a tag that says ID, and it will automatically construct like the SQL query for that. What's that? DB. Is it DB runner? It's been so long since I looked at this. But yeah, given a reflect a row object to create an SQL statement. So given an existing row object that you have, right? So the struct with the data members of the row in the database, it will reflect out the SQL syntax to insert into it. So start with the insert into, and then the name of the row, and then find out the members, the types, etc., etc. So it's just kind of nice because it basically means all the serialization is something becomes a lot more of a solved problem, and then you can just talk in pure types, just pure structs, and then have the reflection deal with all the rest. Anyway, bit of a side tangent. World, hello. It is. I'm fully on board the reflection hype train. Like, I cannot wait. And we're reflecting everything. If you think my template code is bad now, but it's bad now, you ain't seen nothing. Why is that? Like, the only thing that's not rendered. Why is it inverse? What have I? How strange. What that breaks my understanding. Also, why are these lines back? I thought I fixed that. I thought this was a fixed problem. What is going on? Well, indeed. Indeed. I don't think I'm going to fix it in 5 minutes, but I'll have a little play around with more. And then we'll go through what we're going to do next stream, because I really want to this was just something fun to play around with at the end of the stream to see if we could do it quick. Had a good success at the beginning, though. Oh, Haran, you missed this. So now barrels respect the geometry of the world. So that was a good success. So I didn't mind spending a bit of time faffing around with this. Indeed. How very strong. It's not like so. The obvious answer then is something like that, but why would it be negative? How could you ever have an? Do anything like that? Yeah, maybe you're right. Let's have a look. I wonder if the light calculations are messing with it. Well, this is it. How could I end up with a negative length? That's not how vectors work. Very strange. It kind of suggests there's a much deeper rooted problem that I really don't want to know about. Right, it kind of looks good now. Oh. big raid, 40 viewers. Hello, everyone. Not interesting time to join, because I'm not a million miles away from wrapping this up, but thank you and welcome. All right, let's see what's going on. I heard a Windows error alert noise, but I don't see a pop-up. That's also terrifying. Well, I haven't fixed the lines, so that's bizarre. And it's definitely not that. Oh my, yes, you're so right. You are so right. What a great observation. They have a different shader. Oh god. It's been ages faffing around for absolutely no good reason. So I might as well keep this. I'm glad 40 people just arrived on a raid to see me absolutely fail to figure that out. I might as well keep that in, and then we're going to go E assets barrel frag because it has the custom tinting. We've had this problem before as well. Definitely go for more of an Uber shader approach, I think, on the next one. No, it's definitely... This will work. In fact, do you think I can just get away with doing frag color? Do we think? Proof that it's not pre-recorded, indeed. Not in my world, because I'm using floating point buffers, so I can extend beyond that range deliberately so I can capture a wider range of colors and then map them down. So HDR is kind of, you need HDR in order to use Bloom, basically. Yeah, well, yeah. Committed to how I would normally type these things. Right, let's try that again. I'm pretty sure we saw those weird lines disappear though, so I'm not entirely sure what that's all about. Right. There we go. I thought I was going mad. I thought I was going absolutely mad. Okay, so at least we got the high pass, so we could blur that now and then apply it over the top if we want to. Nice. Mr. Oracle. What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to do like Bloom. Because I think that's... Oh, no, I don't want... No. Oh my goodness, what have I reverted? I might actually do a build, because it's been a while since I've done a build. So let's do... Bump version, and then we'll do... I keep looking at this and I'm forgetting what was Stream 87. Oh my goodness. I will get there in a minute. T stream. In LazyGit, uppercase T is tag, lowercase t is revert. Sure. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. So let's do a release. I just choose to assume that's how you wanted to type it. I didn't get a huge amount of sleep last night, so I'm actually quite tired. My brain is pretty much fried as well. So I'm gonna wrap it up there. That being said, let's look what we're gonna do next. So I'm going to take the view that Bloom is going to probably take at least one full stream, if not more. So I think I want to deprioritize that. Well, this is it. So next, we've got some bugs we need to fix. So make SO shader respect window size. Then we need to handle full screen. I think, Harand, didn't you comment on this? Yes. So I'm going to go through that. Because apparently it's, I don't need to make it as hard as it needs to be. So we're getting a crib from that code, which is pretty sweet. So we're going to fix that, handle the full screen, make the game borderless, figure out the release build, possibly package the resources as a Windows resource into the binary itself, add some system info for the logging, need to figure out safe game, config options, so the ability to be able to toggle between full screen and different resolutions. That will necessitate us also being able to handle different resolutions, I think, which I've not done before, because that means you have to presumably reconstruct all the frame buffers. Like the renderer at the moment has no concept. Like once you construct the renderer, that's it. So I don't know if I just need to throw the renderer away and recreate it. There's going to be some architectural shenanigans in there. And basically it's just levels and ship it, right? And then we're done. Like we're going to be done soon. Like really not that far away. Which is exciting. That being said, Discord, come along, it's great. I think Embed was approved into 26, I think. Call it 3 streams plus levels. I think that seems like a reasonable amount, target. Like I said, I really want to be done by the end of November. I don't think we'll be done by November 10th, which will be the 1-year anniversary of this project. But I do think we could be done by the calendar year, and then pretty much I'll probably take like a very short break, plan out the next projects, then we'll roll straight into the next one. That being said, oh yes, there is no stream this Sunday. I'm away, so you'll have to entertain yourselves Sunday evening. I do apologise. But we're back next Wednesday in a week's time, and we'll rattle through these at great pace, and we'll write some COS code, and we'll write some ranges, and it'll be fun. Right. Well, enough. I'll catch you all anon.